In the year 2283, humanity had become a powerful presence within the Galactic Union, an alliance of many species working together to ensure peace and prosperity. Despite the humans' contributions, they were still regarded as unpredictable by their alien counterparts. Their reputation for innovation and boundary pushing was feared and respected, especially at the Elysian War Academy, the most prestigious military school in the galaxy. Here, cadets from dozens of species honed their combat skills and prepared for battle. Echo Squad, led by Lieutenant Ethan Kane, was an elite group of human cadets known for their cunning and resourcefulness. As they stood at the edge of the jungle, ready for their final test called the Gauntlet, the pressure was immense. This multi-day simulation war was a crucible designed to push each team of cadets to their limits, testing their leadership, tactics, and endurance. Ethan's squad would face off against alien teams that were larger and better equipped, including the Krell, a reptilian species known for their brute force, and the Zev Karn, whose technological superiority and drone armies had won them many victories. But Echo Squad had an edge: the human talent for unpredictability. Ethan surveyed his squad, 6 highly trained soldiers who had proven their skills over the years. He knew that they couldn't face the other species head-on, especially given how much larger the alien squads were. Instead, he planned to take advantage of the aliens' predictable strategies, launching a series of rapid strikes to destabilize the enemy. As the simulation began, Echo Squad wasted no time. While other teams focused on setting up defenses and gathering resources, Ethan's squad moved swiftly through the jungle, using drones to scout the area. Their first target was a Krell supply depot located on the outskirts of the central battlefield. Ethan knew that taking out the depot would cripple the Kripple's ability to reinforce their positions. Using Maya Torres, the squad sniper, they silently took out the Krell commander with a well-placed shot, sending the enemy into confusion. The rest of the squad moved in with precision, taking down sentries and disabling the automated turrets guarding the depot. Within minutes, the depot was in flames, and Echo Squad disappeared into the jungle before the Krell could mount a proper defense. The victory gave Echo Squad a critical edge. By the end of the first day, they had carried out 3 successful raids, taking out communication hubs and supply lines, throwing their enemies into disarray. Other alien teams struggled to regroup, their carefully laid plans disrupted by Echo Squad's relentless assaults. But as the second day dawned, their next target loomed: the Zev Karn. Their reliance on drones and automation made them a formidable foe, but Ethan was certain that they could be outmaneuvered. He concocted a plan to feed false data into the Zev Karn's network, making them believe they were being surrounded. When the Zev Karn redeployed their forces, leaving a key outpost vulnerable, Echo Squad moved in. Torres disabled the drones with pinpoint accuracy, while the rest of the squad overran the outpost, disabling its power grid and rendering the Zev Karn helpless. By the end of the second day, only 2 teams remained as true contenders for victory: Echo Squad and the Krell. Both teams knew that control of the Central Command outpost would determine the outcome of the Gauntlet, and the Krell had already begun fortifying the area. Echo Squad's earlier attacks had weakened the Krell's supply lines, but they remained a formidable force, relying on their sheer size and strength to dominate the battlefield. Ethan's plan for the final battle was bold, bordering on reckless, but he knew it was their only chance. As night fell, the squad made their move. They approached the Krell's command outpost under the cover of darkness, using camouflage and stealth to remain undetected. Ethan instructed Torres and another squad member to plant plasma explosives along the western wall of the outpost, while the rest of the team positioned themselves on the opposite side. At precisely 0300 hours, the charges went off, sending a fireball into the night sky. The Krell forces, believing they were under a full-scale assault, rushed to defend the western perimeter, leaving the eastern approach exposed. Echo Squad struck quickly, breaching the defenses and storming the command center. The Krell, caught off guard by the speed and precision of the human attack, were overwhelmed. In just a few minutes, the flag was raised over the outpost, signaling Echo Squad's victory. As the simulation ended, the holographic battlefield dissolved, and the Academy's instructors gathered to debrief the teams. The other squads looked on in awe. Echo Squad had not only won the Gauntlet, but had done so using unorthodox tactics that defied the expectations of the Academy. Ethan and his team had rewritten the rules of engagement, proving that human ingenuity could outmaneuver even the most powerful species in the galaxy. After the simulation, Ethan stood with his squad, reflecting on the battle. The Krell commander, a towering figure of muscle and scales, approached him, his eyes filled with grudging respect. "You fight like predators," the Krell growled. "Swift, cunning, and without mercy." Ethan smiled. "We fight to win." As Echo Squad left the debriefing room, Maya nudged Ethan with a smirk. "They'll never see us the same way again." Ethan nodded, his mind already on the next challenge. Good. Let them remember what we're capable of. Their victory in the gauntlet had proven a point, not just to the Academy but to the entire galaxy. Humanity was no longer a wild card, they were a force to be reckoned with, capable of outthinking and outmaneuvering even the galaxy's most powerful species. And as Echo Squad returned to their barracks, one thing was clear: this was only the beginning. The galaxy would never be the same again. As the dust of the battlefield settled, Echo Squad's triumph in the gauntlet rippled across the Academy. The instructors began speaking about the team not just as elite cadets, but as innovators in the art of war. Ethan knew, however, that such victories carried the weight of expectation. The Academy had begun to view humans as the next great military power within the Galactic Union, and with that came new challenges. A few weeks after their success, Echo Squad received a new assignment. This was no mere simulation, it was a covert mission. The Galactic Union had received reports of an emerging threat. A breakaway faction of rogue military forces from a distant star system was stockpiling weapons. Intelligence suggested that these forces were planning an insurrection, aiming to destabilize entire sectors of the galaxy. The Union's leadership saw this as a chance to test Echo Squad in real-world combat. Ethan was called to a briefing by Commander Jarek, an imposing alien officer who had seen countless battles. He delivered the mission details with precision, making it clear that failure was not an option. "Your squad has proven itself in simulations, but this will be the first time you engage an enemy that doesn't adhere to a set of rules," Jarek said. "These insurgents won't hold back. Neither should you." Echo Squad was tasked with infiltrating the rogue faction's base on the planet Voltora, a harsh, volcanic world where ash storms could blot out the sky. The terrain was treacherous, and the enemy was entrenched. But Echo Squad had something the insurgents didn't: unity, discipline, and the ability to think outside the box. The mission required them to disable a series of shield generators protecting the rogue faction's primary base. Without the shields, the Union's fleet could perform a surgical strike to eliminate the insurrection. Echo Squad's insertion was swift. Under cover of darkness, they landed on Voltora, using a small shuttle to evade enemy detection. The squad's first obstacle was navigating the dangerous landscape. Lava flows cut through the rocky terrain, and seismic tremors threatened to destabilize their path at any moment. But it wasn't the environment that concerned Ethan, it was the unknown. The insurgents had been silent on all communication channels, which meant they were likely preparing a trap. As they moved toward the first shield generator, the squad deployed reconnaissance drones to scout the area. Maya, the sniper, was positioned at an elevated ridge, her keen eyes scanning for any sign of movement. The squad's tech specialist, Samir, was already working on bypassing the electronic defenses when they encountered something unexpected: automated turrets hidden beneath the ash-covered rocks. The first turret fired, forcing the squad to scatter for cover. Ethan quickly assessed the situation, calling for Maya to take out the turret's sensors. Within seconds, a single shot disabled the device, but the noise had alerted the enemy. The insurgents began pouring out of hidden bunkers, firing energy weapons that lit up the darkened landscape. Ethan's voice crackled through the comms, calm but commanding. "Torres, give us cover fire. Samir, get that generator offline now." Samir's fingers flew over his datapad, working to break through the enemy's encryption. Meanwhile, Maya's rifle cracked again and again, each shot precise, taking down enemy combatants before they could get too close. The rest of the squad laid down suppressing fire, pushing back the insurgents long enough for Samir to complete his task. With a final beep, the generator powered down, and the protective shield over the enemy base flickered and vanished. "That's one down," Samir said, breathless. "Two more to go." But the insurgents were not about to let Echo Squad continue without a fight. As they moved toward the second generator, the enemy regrouped, launching a coordinated counterattack. Explosions rocked the ground, and the squad found themselves pinned down by heavy artillery. "We can't stay here," Ethan growled. "We need to move, now." In an act of desperation, Ethan devised a plan that seemed as risky as it was brilliant. Using the terrain to their advantage, the squad lured the enemy artillery into firing on a nearby lava flow. The heat and pressure caused the ground to crack, releasing a molten wave that surged toward the insurgents. Chaos erupted in the enemy ranks as they scrambled to avoid the burning death that poured down on them. Echo Squad used the opportunity to push forward. With the enemy in disarray, they reached the second generator. Samir, ever the specialist, disabled it with the same efficiency as before, but their mission was far from over. As they approached the final generator, the squad received a transmission static-filled but unmistakably urgent. It was Commander Jarek. "We've picked up movement from orbit. The insurgents are preparing to launch. If they get their ships into the sky, we'll lose them." Ethan's mind raced. They had to disable the final generator now, but the enemy had reinforced their position. Dozens of soldiers, along with armored vehicles, stood between them and their objective. This wasn't just a battle, it was a race against time. "We don't have the numbers to take them head-on," Maya said, her voice tight with frustration. "We won't need to," Ethan replied, a grim smile forming on his face. "We'll take them by surprise, one last gamble." He outlined his plan, and though it was risky, the squad trusted his instincts. Echo Squad split into two teams, with Maya providing overwatch from the high ground, while Samir rigged a nearby power relay to overload. As the enemy forces closed in, a massive explosion rocked the battlefield, taking out their vehicles and causing confusion among their ranks. Amid the chaos, Ethan and the rest of the squad sprinted toward the final generator. They fought through waves of insurgents, every second bringing them closer to victory or defeat. Just as the enemy seemed to regain control, Taurus took out the last of the command officers, leaving the insurgents leaderless. Samir deactivated the final shield generator with a triumphant shout. "Generators down," Ethan called out into his comm. "Commander, it's your move." Above them, the sky lit up as the Union fleet descended upon the base. Precision strikes obliterated the insurgent strongholds, leaving nothing but ashes in their wake. The mission was over. Echo Squad had succeeded once again. As the team extracted from Valtora, the weight of their victory settled in. They had proven themselves not just in simulations, but in real combat, against a dangerous enemy. Yet, as the shuttle soared away from the volcanic planet, Ethan couldn't shake the feeling that something darker was on the horizon. The insurrection had been crushed, but the galaxy was a vast place, full of enemies lurking in the shadows, waiting for their moment. Echo Squad had won today, but Ethan knew that in the ever-changing landscape of galactic warfare, victory was never permanent. The only constant was the bond between his team, their loyalty, their trust, and their readiness to face whatever came next. And whatever it was, they would be ready,